Hillary Clinton was asked if she lost the election because she describes herself as a capitalist. Let's see if she says yes and adds to the list of about 36 other things she already blamed for her election loss.
You may be the only presidential candidate since World War II that actually had to stand up and say, I am a capitalist. And you did. Did it hurt you?
Probably. I mean, you know, it's hard. It's hard to know, but I mean, if you're in the Iowa caucuses and 41% of Democrats are socialists or self-described socialists, and I'm asked, "Are you a capitalist?" and I say yes, but with appropriate regulation and appropriate accountability. You know, that probably gets lost in the, oh my gosh, she's a capitalist.
I mean, is she ever gonna stop? It's amazing how, and Bill Maher did a new rules the other week, going after Republicans because Republicans are still talking about Hillary Clinton. They're still talking about her because she's still everywhere. She's doing a world tour where it seems like the whole point of it is to deflect blame for her election loss. So I don't know if you're keeping track, but so far she's blamed James Comey, the FBI, Vladimir Putin, Russians in general, Jill Stein, Gary Johnson, fake news, racism, sexism. She keeps coming up with more and more creative ways to deflect blame for her election loss. Now it's all you evil socialists. So, you know, all the adults are really for capitalism, and they acknowledge that they're for capitalism, and all you know, goofy far lefties in the Democratic Party, you're the reason I lost. It didn't matter how nuanced I was about my position about, yes, I believe in capitalism, but it should be regulated and all this. No, it's, you just heard capitalism and you shut off, and it's your fault that I lost. Listen, what cost you the election is that you're corrupt and you're a liar and you have a terrible voting record. That's it. That's it. Remember, the real reason Hillary Clinton lost is because of the Rust Belt. It was just, like 100,000 votes in the Rust Belt that really swung this election? Because she won the popular vote by over 3 million votes. So it really just came down to maybe 100,000 votes in the Rust Belt. And when you go and talk to those people, they're very clear about why they didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. Many of these people are from factory towns that were utterly destroyed, completely obliterated when Bill Clinton signed NAFTA. And then they outsourced all the jobs. So all you needed to do was chip away on that 100,000 vote deficit in the Rust Belt, and the Democrat would have won. So any populist Democrat would have won. But, you know, instead of blaming her own record, the fact that she was okay with deregulation of Wall Street, she says, oh, I wagged my finger at them and told them to stop. Really? But your voting record is not good on these issues. You know, you supported NAFTA at the time. You were vocal in pushing for NAFTA. You're still for TPP. She pushed for it 45 times until Bernie Sanders tepidly got her to say, okay, I guess I'm against it. And she was doing that out of necessity. Like, oh God, I better say I'm against it because or else I'll get utterly obliterated in the Rust Belt. Well, you didn't fucking make anybody believe you, and then they voted for the guy who was ripping TPP every other second on the campaign trail, especially in the Rust Belt. While you were doing goofy-ass, rallies with LeBron James, Trump was saying, TPP terrible, we're going to kill TPP, we're going to get out of NAFTA, folks, that's what we're going to do. So the real reason you lost is because you lost the Rust Belt, and you lost the Rust Belt because you're anything but populist. So it's your own voting record, and of course it's your corruption, the Wall Street speeches, and you didn't release the fucking transcripts, and everybody knows what was really said in those transcripts. We got some of them later on from WikiLeaks. And what did we learn? She told the rich, there's a real feeling of bigotry against the rich in this country today, isn't there? Yeah, you're going to lose if you're fucking saying, woe is the rich. You know, oh, I pity the rich in your mansions. You're so oppressed. The rich are so oppressed. She spoke about totally open trade borders. By the way, the right mischaracterized that and acted like she was talking about totally open borders. Like, you know, for free flow of people. That's not what she was saying. She was saying totally open trade borders. Which is way worse. That's way worse. That's fucking NAFTA, TPP, permanent normal trade relations with China on steroids. So this is the reason why she lost. Because she is a liar. She did vote for the Iraq War. She did vote for the Patriot Act. And then there was this smug sense of entitlement about her, like, obviously, like, why are we even having the election? That's the sense you got from her. Remember, they propped up Donald Trump. They had the Pied Piper strategy. Oh, let's have all the Democratic strategists go out there and play up Trump like he's a real threat and he's going to be the real contender. And then, so they would go out there and prop up Trump, prop up Trump, prop up Trump. So she got the general election she wanted against Trump, and she lost anyway. So, really, you should blame yourself and all those brilliant Democratic strategists who thought, oh, we'll have the best chance against this guy. And then you prop that guy up, and then you lost to that guy. So, in like 1,000 ways, you should be directly blaming yourself. But no, you're still deflecting blame. You do know that when she talks about, whatever it was, 41% of Iowa Democrats being socialist, that she's looking down her nose at those people, right? That's like looking at them like, childish is what they are. As opposed to looking at these people as like left behind by a broken system that has destroyed them, destroyed their communities, destroyed their families, and they're looking for an alternative. And perhaps they have rationally deduced that they have it a little better in Sweden and Norway and Denmark, and that we would like a system like them, please, with healthcare and education. That wacky idea. Daycare's another one. Paid vacation time, higher wages, better unions, stronger unions, pro-union legislation. Instead of looking at them and going, wow, maybe they have a point. It's a snide, condescending remark of like, you guys just don't understand that capitalism is the enlightened way. God damn it, man. And I know that's not true. It is possible to be an appealing candidate and to have that nuanced position. Because listen, even Bernie Sanders, he's a democratic socialist or social democrat. But that means there's an element of capitalism in his philosophy. It's not like it's totally post-capitalist. So Bernie Sanders was massively popular and would have won if it wasn't for the DNC fuckery behind the scenes. So that guy was able to become massively popular when there's still an element of capitalism in his philosophy. So obviously that's not the fucking problem here. The problem is your corruption, how you're a liar, and you have a terrible voting record. And no matter how much you try to deflect and obfuscate, nothing's going to get away from that fact. In fact, the opposite is happening now. The more she talks about, blaming other things for her loss, the more people are like, no, seriously, you have to stop. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault. So, we wouldn't even really be talking about this if I wasn't thoroughly convinced that she's still largely in control of the Democratic Party. I really do believe that. And, there was a story the other week. Bill Clinton told Tom Perez, you can't let the Bernie people take over the Democratic Party. So that's happening now. Tom Perez, the new DNC head. Remember they shafted Keith Ellison, too, when we got Tom Perez? He's like, listen, you can't let the Bernie people take over the Democratic Party. So the Clintons are still calling the shots. And you have to understand that their philosophy is neoliberalism, centrism, corporatism. They're warmongers. So there's a civil war going on for the soul of the Democratic Party right now. And the people who are still in control are the wrong people. So that's why these segments are important, where we highlight the stuff she says and how she's deflecting blame. Because we're never going to move past this philosophy and this ideology, which has ruined the Democratic Party and the country, unless we call it out. We call it out and we say, no, it's time for a new direction. You lost because of you. That's why you lost. Your philosophy is totally unappealing. It's destroyed lives. And now you're doubling down on it and tripling down on it and deflecting blame and even going as far as voter shaming. So you know that you're flawed when, instead of taking responsibility or saying, hey, maybe I didn't phrase things right or I should, it's voter shaming. It's, man, you guys fucked up, didn't you? And that's the sense you get from everything Hillary said post-election. It's like, it's not me. Obviously, the problem's not me. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with my ideology. There's nothing wrong with my record. None of that. It's obviously, deflect blame to everybody else and say, the voters failed me. And if that's how you view democracy, that politicians can't fail the people, but people fail the politicians, well, then you've got it totally backwards. So you don't actually believe in democracy if that's the case. Because you're supposed to want to go get those votes. You're supposed to want to convince those people and give them something that they agree with and like. But instead of doing that, it's shaming to fall in line. And then even after losing, still shaming. You would think that they'd be smart enough to go, okay, let's do an autopsy. Okay, here's where we're wrong. Okay, now we can use this new philosophy to try to get people. No, it's the exact opposite. Now they're even more angry at people who either didn't vote or voted for somebody else. Now they're even more angry at you, and they're shaming you even more, which of course is going to have the exact opposite reaction of what they want to have, which is they want to shame you into complicity. But you're not going to fall for that. So that's why these are important segments to talk about, because you need to correct the record and change the direction. Change the direction of the Democratic Party moving into the future. And they're trying with every fiber of their being to make sure that we don't get change.